Welcome to the channel. I am that streamer dude. My friends on Twitch call me Rocky, and today we're going to talk about everything you need to know regarding Streamelements alerts.
Catch me riding dirty.
In case you missed it, I recently posted a video about the same process on Streamlabs, how to set up your alerts, and we made them from scratch, right? So now I'm going to post the same process with how we do it on Streamelements. And even if you use Streamlabs, I think this video is worth watching so you can compare the two, because there are quite a few differences, and see which might work best for your channel. Personally, I fought it for a really long time, but I recently made the switch from Streamlabs alerts for most things over to Streamelements, and I'll show you why, because there's a whole nother level of customability when it comes to Streamelements that Streamlabs simply doesn't offer. Streamelements makes the process a whole lot easier if you want like different bit alerts that pop up in different areas of the screen, or one might slide out from the right, one might slide out from the bottom. You can have full screen sub alert, all this kind of stuff. And it also makes it a whole lot easier to organize your alerts if you have several different alerts. So you're playing a scary game and you have certain alerts for that, or you're playing a farming game and you have different alerts for that, or whatever you may be playing. It makes it a whole lot easier to keep track of those alert variations and be able to pick and choose which ones you want to use on which night. Now, before we start rolling into it, I do want to mention that I stream over at twitch.tv/cobras. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday from like 9 p.m. to like 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, usually a whole lot later on Fridays. I'd love to see you guys come around and say hi. I also have a Discord, which you can find the link for in the description below, as well as a Twitter. Feel free to hit me up anytime if you have questions about any of this stuff you see in any of the videos on this channel. The whole reason I put this channel together a couple months ago was to be able to share my knowledge with you guys that I've accumulated through my content creation career thus far, being partnered on Twitch and being partnered on YouTube. And so I love doing this stuff. I love answering your questions. Feel free to hit me up anytime.
Catch me riding dirty.
So diving into it here, of course, we're going to start off by swinging on over to streamelements.com. Obviously, you'll have to log in. So whether you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever, click your corresponding platform. So it may take you through a little verification process there. Just swing through that. It's just a couple steps and you'll be greeted by a screen like this. Where we're going to want to go is over here to the side, streaming tools, and we'll want to go to my overlays. So as you can see here, I have a bunch of different overlays, and I'll get into the reason behind that, but we're going to go ahead and start with a brand new blank overlay. So we're going to click create blank overlay. Right here, you can choose your resolution, and this is the resolution that you have your OBS set to for your base resolution. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you open up your OBS or your Streamlabs OBS and you go to File, you go to Settings, you're going to want to swing over to this Video tab right here. And you'll notice in this Video tab that you have two different options here at the top, your base canvas and your output. So the base canvas is what basically your monitor resolution is. Your output is if you want to scale it down for when you stream over to Twitch or YouTube, right? So you're going to want to make sure that this resolution that you're setting up for this overlay in Streamelements is based on your base resolution and not your output. Long story short, it'll just make sure that everything lines up a whole lot better for you. So my overlay resolution is going to be 1080p, and that's where we're going to start here. So immediately you'll be presented with just a blank canvas. This is essentially like an alpha version or a see-through version of what would be over your screen in OBS. And so with Streamelements, there's you can put pictures in, you can add a whole bunch of different things that would essentially be on top of your screen with this overlay. But we're just going to talk about alerts today. So we're going to come over here to add widget, and we're going to add an alert box. So you'll see that it gives you a little outline for your alert box that you can drag and adjust however you want it. And up in the top corner here, it'll give you the dimensions for the box that you're dragging around in your total 1080p canvas here. So let's go ahead and just drag it to whatever size we might want. We can move it to wherever we want if we want it here at the top of the screen. And then let's dive into setting up some alerts. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to have the option to select or deselect alerts that you may want to have on this overlay. So the process will be very similar between setting up a follower alert or a subscriber alert, cheer alert, etc. So what I might do is just go ahead and go with the cheer alerts, since those are going to be some of the more advanced ones that I'll be talking about here. Just know if you dive into follower alerts or subscriber alerts, whatever, which we will do a little bit of, that the process is going to be pretty much the same. So now we have selected that we only want cheer alerts within this little blue box area that we have in our overlay base canvas. You can even come into here into position, size, and style and set up a custom width and height that you may want, and even like margins and such if you want to be a lot more precise than just clicking and dragging, right? You can also rotate your box 90 degrees or 180 degrees for whatever reason you may want to do that. It's an option available to you. But for now, we're just going to come back into settings and we're going to click on this little cogwheel next to cheer so that we can set up our cheer alerts. So if you just want one universal cheer alert, it's going to be super simple, just like Streamlabs was. It's just a matter of coming in here, selecting your video or your image, and then selecting your sound. And then every time somebody cheers, it'll pop up in wherever you have this little blue box at. I like to do things a little more advanced. So I'm going to dive into like the variations and ways to have different variations pop up around your screen without a whole lot of setup. If you were wanting just one default cheer alert, then you're going to want to make sure that you come in here to your variation settings at the bottom. If you saw where I just clicked down here. Oh, you can't see where I just clicked. Oh, maybe it would help if I moved my cam box out of the way so you could actually see what I'm doing here. There we go. That'll make it a little bit better. So like I was saying, you're going to want to come down to variations right here, and you're going to want to delete all of these. That way, if anybody cheers one of these specific bit amounts, whether it's 100,000, 5,000, whatever, you're still getting that one generic alert that you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and delete these for the purposes of this video, and we'll set up some other variations. So you would click on the cogwheel, go to delete, easy peasy. So now that we have all those deleted, you would come in and you could just emulate a cheer event, any cheer event, and that's what you're going to end up with. But let's dive into something a little more complicated here, okay? So like what I like to do is I have a default set of alerts that I have in my about section that never change. And then I like to customize some alerts to the game that I'm playing. And I'll show you how you do that. I also have things that pop up on the right side, on the left side, from below, just depending on what bit amount you cheer. And we'll dive into how to do that really simply too. A whole lot easier than you're able to do it on Streamlabs. So for me, what I would do is I would have an alert box just like this that is set up to a default cheer, kind of like we just did. Delete all the variations. And this is an alert that will play if a variation amount isn't cheered. So anything that's not, say you have special variations for 101, 102, 103, and somebody cheers 99 or they cheer 105. This is the alert that will play in those scenarios. And so we're going to go ahead and leave it at what it has set up right here. And then we'll get into how to set up these variations. So this is what I want my default cheer alert to be. We'll just go ahead and plop it down kind of right up here in the center. And then we'll go to check out how to do some other cool variations. So I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to go ahead and back out of this alert box here. And I'm going to go back to layers. So you can see this is our alert box 1. This is our default alerts. You can go back into this plus sign down here underneath me and set up another alert box within this overlay. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing. We'll turn off everything except for cheer alerts. And we'll dive into our variations. Now, it's important that if we have 2 alert boxes with cheers set up, that the ones that we don't want for our default alert, how do I say this? The ones that we have strictly for variations, we're going to want to get rid of the images or the videos and the sounds here. Otherwise, when you get a cheer, it's going to pop up in both alert boxes. So let's go ahead and just click the X here, clear our sound, and we'll get into the variations and delete all these as well. All right, our image is cleared, our sound is cleared, and all our variations are empty. It's time to set up our new variation. So with this variation, we're going to say that we want it to pop up in the bottom right hand corner. So we'll go ahead and set our box down there. We'll click the cogwheel next to cheer alerts and come down here to variations, add new variation. Now we're going to want to click start with blank. So here we can name our variation. Let's just call it by, and we can set the conditions of this variation. So we want it to be a specific amount with the exact parameters of it being 101 bits. Now we'll come in and set our image. I'm going to go ahead and upload a new one. This one here. I'm not going to set a sound for now. Super simple. You would just click sound and you can adjust the volume and everything like we saw on the default alert. I like to have it where the text, if we're going to use text, shows over the image. Otherwise, it will kind of resize your image and it'll be not exactly how you envisioned, right? And for my variations, I don't like to have the alert messages in that spot. So I usually go in and delete the alert messages. The alert message will say so-and-so cheered such amount, right? We can go in and set that up in just a second. Then we can come here to set the duration. Say we just want it to be like 4 seconds. And we'll want to put the same amount, the 101 right here in the minimum amount. Now is where we can set our animation. So since we have this in the bottom right corner, I want to go ahead and have this slide in. I believe it's a little bit weird, right? I think that I have to have it set up. So you would think that the option would be slide in up, but I think it's you choose slide in down. It slides in from down. I may be completely wrong. I may be looking stupid right now. Spoiler, he was indeed looking stupid right now. And then we're going to have it exit slide in down, which is opposite from the logic that we used at the start. Okay, slide out down, slide in down. We're going to find out whether that's right or not here. We'll put 1 second. So this is how long it takes for it to slide up, how long it takes for it to slide down. And then if we want to have text, we can change the text animations right here. We'll get into this stuff in a little bit. So now we'll go ahead and save our variation. And you'll notice that if I come in here to emulate a cheer event and I was to cheer 102 bits, it's gonna pop up. Oh Lord, I gotta turn these off. So you'll notice that if I come in here and I cheer, say 102 bits, then now it's gonna play our default alert, because this isn't an alert variation that we have set specifically for a specific amount, right? But if we come in here and now we cheer that 101 bits, that should slide up from the bottom alert box. Oh, okay, I was wrong. Oh no. Come back into here. We'll go to our animations. We do want it to slide in up. I don't know. I swear that that was a thing and I had to do that before. Cheer event, custom, our 101 bit variation. And now it should slide up and then slide back down. So what we have here is a really good example. When we cheer our 101 bit alert, you noticed that he actually slid really, really high into the screen. You can move that while it's happening, so that we make sure we've got it just sliding out of the bottom and being lined up at the bottom of the screen. So now if we come in here, cheer event, and do our emulate our 101 bit cheer, he should just slide up and be at the bottom of the screen. Of course, that little box is blocking it for us. You saw it at the end. You probably noticed as well that when we emulated that variation of 101 bits, that we still got an alert here in our default alert box. We're gonna address that later, don't worry about that. So I'm sure you see where we're going here. We're gonna set up another alert box, like so, to have our second variation come in. So say we want this to drop from the top left here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn everything off except for our cheers. Clear out our variations. And clear out our default video and sound. So now we want to set up another variation. Let's go ahead and just start with blank and make this one, let's call it dab. And we're going to have it be exactly 500 bits. So we enter our required amount there. I always check the text over image box. I don't want to show the cheer message. I'm going to delete the alert message and we'll set our duration. Make sure you set this minimum amount once again to the requirement amount. Let's put our image in here, dab, and we'll submit it. So now that should all be set up for our exactly 500 bit alert. I also want to, let's say we want to come back and mess with something we saw earlier for the alert box. This is alert box 3. So let's close this. Let's go back to layers. Let's choose alert box 3. And let's go ahead and rotate this, what would that be, 180 degrees? So that whenever he dabs in, he's dabbing in upside down. So now we should be able to emulate a cheer event of exactly 500 bits. It should not pop up down here. We're gonna take care of the reason that it pops up in the middle, and he should pop up upside down here and dab with 500 bits. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and address the reason that these variations are popping up in that default alert box. So we're going to come back to layers and go back to our alert box 1 and head back into our settings, where we'll go back to our cheer variation. So I had you clear these out earlier. This is the most tedious aspect of getting this set up the first time. Every variation that you have in a different box, you're going to have to create a blank variation for in your default box. So let's start with blank. And what I mean is we're just going to clear the video, we're going to clear the sound, and we're just going to name this blank 500. We'll set it up the exact same way, 500 here, 500 here. We'll have it be the same duration, text over image. And now if we save this, when we emulate this 500-bit cheer alert again, you'll notice that there is nothing in, oh, hold on. That might not be true. I think I forgot to delete something. I need to come in here and delete this message as well. There we go. So now when I come in here and I emulate this cheer event of 500 bits, you'll notice that it stays blank in the middle because we just have it blanked out, and we will still get our 500-bit alert over here. So you're gonna have to go through in your default box, if you're doing a default box, and set that all the variations in there to just be blank. So we would have to do the same thing for 101, go in and do an exact variation in this middle box for 101 so that when we cheered, nothing popped up there, only in the alert box that we wanted it to in the bottom right hand corner. It's also worth noting that if you have specific variations that you don't care if they pop up from different corners or different sides of the screen or whatever, that you can actually go into your default box for us, which is this alert box 1, and still have variations. So we can go into settings, go into cheer alerts, variations, and we can still set a new variation with an image. So let's start with blank. And let's go ahead and just set the amount to say 200 with an alert duration of 5 seconds. Let's get rid of our cheer message. So we can still come in here and have an alert variation. Let me just set to an image that I already have. Don't ask questions about that. Now we have our 200-bit variation. We save our variation. Because we cleared out that default section in these other two alert boxes, when we come in here now and we cheer this custom 200 amount, you don't have to worry about adding the blanks into the bottom corner or the left corner or anything like that. They've already been cleared out. So anything that you don't care if it's popping up in different places or whatever, you can throw it all in this middle default box as a variation as well. So now we know how to set up different variations for our alerts, specifically bit alerts. If we want things to pop up in different places, or if we want things to fall into a default box, we know how to assign them to do so. But we had all the text turned off, and we want to make sure that the text pops up and says, thank you for donating these bits. What we will do is we'll go ahead and add another alert box that will have specifically be our text for the cheers. So we'll repeat the same process. Let's go ahead and clear everything out of our variations and from our default alert here. Alrighty, now that we have everything cleared from our variations and from our default image and sound, we want to come back to this default page. Now we can decide if we want our cheer message to show. So we do want it to say so-and-so cheered X amount, and we want it to show it for X amount of time. So we'll set it up right here, and then we'll come down to our text settings. And there's a whole lot you can do with your text settings here, but we'll come in and we'll just choose a font at random. I don't know what that'll look like by any means. We can choose a color. We can choose our font size. We can mess with our spacing. We can set whether we want it centered. There's a whole lot of options here. Even our stroke, and the stroke is like an outer border, like an outline around the text itself. And then we also have colors for our secondary text, so if they write a message with it. One thing that's always a little bit wonky when you come into your text settings in Streamelements, if you go to the advanced tab under your main text settings, not the secondary down there, you'll notice that they always have the top margin set to -50, which means that it pulls your text up. So if we have it at the top of the screen, it's actually going to be off the screen. I'm not really sure why they do that, but it's worth coming in here and changing that to 0 so everything lines up how you want it to be. We're also going to go ahead and set this secondary text to be like a darker color, just because this is on a white background and I want you to be able to read it. So now we should be able to come down here and emulate our cheer event. Let's go ahead and emulate it for the 500 bits. He should pop up in dab. We should not have anything in the other boxes except for the text box, which will show our message. Just like that. That's exactly how we want it, right? And you can have that text box wherever you want. If you want it to drop down in the middle, you can set up the animation settings just like you do for the alerts. You can have it slide in and slide out in the middle, at the top, at the bottom, however you want it to be. But also that will work for alerts that we don't have variations for. So we come in and we do a cheer alert for, say, 50 bits. We'll get our default alert in the middle, and we'll still get our text in the top right. I hope I haven't lost you guys and you guys are still following me. I may even title this something about advanced tips and tricks or something as well, just so that people know that I'm not just diving into the default, here's exactly how you do a simple follow alert or whatever. But if you wanted to do a follower alert, you would just follow through the same guidelines. You can either add a brand new alert box that's just your follow alert if you want it to be somewhere else. But if you don't mind everything else popping up in this middle default box, then you can go ahead and just have your follow alert there. And then if we emulate the follower event, oh, I selected this other one that you want your follows to show there in the top right, not the middle, because I had that one selected. When you emulate your follower event, wherever you want it to be, you can put it in that box, or you can build your own alert box, however you want to do it. I think you see the customize ability here. If not, hit me up on Discord or on the Twitters, or just leave me a comment below. I answer my comments all the time. So once you got everything set up, it's important to remember to come up and click this save button right here. You'll also notice sometimes that if you have OBS open and you're trying to test out these alerts, if you don't click this save button, you'll be frustrated wondering why the changes aren't happening on your OBS, but you see it happening in Streamelements. You have to click that save button for those changes to take place in your browser source in OBS. If you guys, let me just show you real quick. I want to be very thorough how you would add this browser source in OBS, okay? So real simple, you have your alert set up. You'll come in here and you'll click this button right here at the top, copy overlay URL. Now over here on OBS, we're gonna click the plus sign, or you can right click in the sources box and add a browser source. You can name it whatever you want. You're gonna come in here and clear the URL and paste the URL that you just copied from Streamelements. You wanna make sure to set your resolution. So for ours, it was 1920 by 1080. Just like so. Fit it to your screen, because my resolution on this computer, which is a different computer because I have a 2 PC setup, is a little wonky. And now when we come in here and we emulate our 500 cheer amount, oops, that's one too many zeros, it should pop up on our screen as it does there. Now let me take a minute here and share with you guys why I have so many different overlays here and why I think that ultimately the alert system with Streamelements is better. I mean, put to the side what we just covered, the fact that we can actually put different alerts for different amounts of different corners, which is not possible on Streamlabs, at least not to my knowledge. You can also have different overlays for different games or different things going on. So for me, I get tired of doing the same thing all the time, right? Like I like to change things up just for my own sanity. And so sometimes I use a cam box, sometimes I use a green screen. And so I have different overlays with different things in different places based on whether I'm using a green screen or a cam box, for example. So if I was to come in here to my alpha alerts, let me resize this here so you can see this a little bit better. And I emulate a 101 cheer event like so. You should see that I get slapped from within my box. All of my alerts built here are geared towards things popping in or around my cam box. But say now I'm using my green screen because some games I feel like work better with green screens. On my Stream Deck, I have a button where I can kill the cam box and actually turn it back to my green screen. It will also, I could get into this too if you guys don't know how to do this, but when I hit that button, it also turns off one overlay from Streamelements and activates a different overlay from Streamelements that things are in different places for, because I don't have that cam box, right? So now if I was to emulate this same cheer event of 101, he's gonna pop up right here, you know, larger in a different spot, whatever. So all of my alerts for these different things are in different places. You can have it activate and deactivate different overlays. Also, so say for scary games, I'm terrified of clowns, so I can actually set up an entire overlay that is just clowns. When I come into my alert box settings, you'll notice that nothing, you know, this is all cleared out because I have my own default box like we were talking about, where everything that's not a variation pops up. And then all these variations here are just clown alerts. I can turn off my old overlays and turn on my clown overlay, and that way everything that is cheered will turn into a clown alert. So I just think that if this was on Streamlabs, I would have to go through and let me show you. If I was trying to do this same thing on Streamlabs, first and foremost, to have the bits pop up in different places, I would have to, what I did in the past is go into my Adobe Premiere and actually render the alerts full screen and then take the image and put it down in the corner or whatever and have the whole rest of it alpha or see-through. Giant pain in the butt. But if I was trying to even just do the whole I just want clown alerts tonight thing, what I would have to do is come into my bits, go to my variations at the bottom here, and for every amount, go in and find the one that is currently activated, deactivate it, go in and find the clown one and turn that on for all 10 or 12 alerts that I want to change, right? So unless you just do these all at the same time, these stay sorted based on the time that you add them. So I can't sort these by all my 400 bits. I can't sort these by all alerts named clown. It's a much more difficult process when you start getting into changing your alerts frequently and having different variations and things like that when you're on Streamlabs. And it's ultimately why I switched from Streamlabs to Streamelements for most of my alerts. The reason I say most is I do still use Streamlabs for some alerts. It's more out of laziness and the fact that things are already open, like uploaded over here, but I could do the exact same thing. I just keep my full screen sub and my follower alerts over here on Streamlabs just because it's already set up that way and I haven't taken the time to move it over to Streamelements. Streamlabs isn't bad, but it's good, but the customability isn't there like it is with Streamelements. And back on Streamelements, to reiterate one more time, you can use it for all your other alerts. If you wanted to come in here and you wanted to have your subscriber alerts full screen, so it would be super simple to do that. You could just set up another alert box, full screen, come into the cogwheel and set up your default, just like you did for the bits, right? Set up your default sub alert, come into your variations and set sub alerts for when it's, so many months in a row or it's their year anniversary or whatever. It is pretty much the exact same process.
Gonna catch me right.
Anywho, that's probably a whole lot more than you bargained for. I just really wanted to get into, I have a lot of questions about the way that I do my alerts and stuff like that because they are all over the place. And I just really wanted to make sure that I covered all those bases with you. So hopefully you guys were able to keep up with me. If you have any questions, again, hit me up in the Discord. Link is in the description below. You can hit me up on Twitter or swing by my Twitch channel, which I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 p.m. to like 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, usually later on Fridays. I would love to help you guys out in any way that I can. Again, this channel is geared towards information for content creation in general, whether that's making videos on YouTube or streaming. If that's something that you feel like might interest you, make sure to drop me a sub. If you learn one thing, then the time you spent clicking that button paid off and you would have my eternal gratitude. But I think I blabbed on enough for this one. So until the next video, see you later, dudes.